Hello, good evening everyone. I am Dr. Neetu. I am the consultant pediatrician working in KIMS Health Trivandrum and a proud team member of Vardaan. As you all know that Vardaan is an organization which helps the future parents or the new parents to ensure the holistic development of their baby. We also believe that holistic education is the key towards further development of future generation. So today's topic is that is my baby growing all right? Most apt for the new parents who are very much confused at times when they come to pediatrician's OPD. When they come to our OPD for various issues like any cold, cough or any vaccination, one of the most pertinent questions which is there in their minds is my baby all right? And by saying that is my baby all right, they basically want to say that whether my baby is growing well or not. So I am going to answer the question by maybe making 4 or 5 points clear. That first of all, whenever a pediatrician looks at your baby, before saying that your baby is growing all right or not, he or she looks at different facts. So the number one point is, did your baby start right or not? What do you mean by that? ऐसा हमें कहने से क्या मतलब है कि हमारे बेबी का जो स्टार्टिंग था that was correct or right or not, or that was normal or not. By saying that, we mean that when your baby was born, whether it was a normal delivery, it was a term baby, it was a normal birth weight baby or not. Okay, so before making sure that your baby is growing all right or not, we look at the starting point of your baby. So we need to make sure that your baby is born normal, that means at full gestation or around your expected date of delivery. So what is a term baby? Term baby means between 37 weeks up to 42 weeks. If your baby is born, that is a normal term baby. And the second thing is we look at the birth weight. What is a normal birth weight for a child who is born at term is 2.5 to 3.5. For Indian population, it is a normal birth weight. So anything below that or above that is little bit maybe high or low. But if your baby is born between 37 to 42 weeks and born with the birth weight of 2.5 to 3.5, he is expected to grow normally in most of the circumstances. So that is the starting point. Now, some of you may ask me the question that suppose our baby is born preterm or the weights are not in this range, what will happen? So in those cases, we look at the growth charts critically, because most of the preterm babies, they catch up their growth by around 2 years. After 2 years, they grow almost like a normal baby. Okay, so that is number one point. The second point is, whenever your baby comes to our OPD, because of any issues like be it is vaccination, be it is cold or cough, the first thing when you do is you check at weight and height of your baby and then only enter into the pediatrician's OPD, right? So when we look at the weight and height, by looking at these parameters grossly, we can estimate how your baby's growth is. But as a new parent, you also want to know that whether your baby is growing well or not. So for all the parents, I will tell that whichever hospital or vaccination card you are following, in that card there is a growth chart. Always, almost always, a growth chart is included into the vaccination card. So just look at that growth chart. There are various types of growth charts, and if you do not get any, just go and Google and search the growth charts for Indian children. So Indian Academy of Pediatrics gives you growth charts. Just download it and print it. And along the age, there is a age and then weight and height on the y-axis, and there is a age on x-axis. As per the age, you can plot the weight and height of your baby on these growth charts. So by one look itself, if your baby's weight lies in that particular range, because there is a upper range and then there is a lower range. Somewhere in between, wherever it is, if your baby's weight and height lies in those between two lines, that means grossly it is normal. The growth is normal. The second thing which we have to follow is the growth curve. That means by a simple single recording, you cannot make sure that your baby's growth is okay or not. So what you need to do is, whatever growth records you have from birth till now, at birth what was his weight and height, at 1.5 months what was his weight and height, at maybe 3 months or 6 months what his weight or height was, just plot it and look at the growth curve. If it goes in the same direction as the growth chart, then it is almost sure that your baby is growing normally. Almost 99.9% your baby is perfectly growing normally in terms of somatic growth. That means in terms of physical growth. Okay? Then we have to look at the development. Development means here, the brain. How much is the mental development of the baby? So mental development, we have specific charts, and the easiest chart which most of the hospitals use is Trivandrum Development Scale. That is included in most of the vaccination cards, but they even follow the other charts also, like Denver Development Screening Test or the Baroda Development Scale, BD scale, or some scale is there. So along with that age, they give you the age range and they give you different milestones. That at this age, particular age, what milestones your baby has achieved. Okay. So like at 2 months, baby should smile. At around 2 to 3 months, baby should recognize the mother. At 3 months, head holding should start. By about 5 months, head holding should be achieved completely. Baby should achieve a head control. So like this, age-wise, we have development milestones. We need to assess the development in different sectors. There are 4 main sectors. One is gross motor. Gross motor means at what age baby started head holding, at what age baby started sitting, at what age baby started standing and walking. This is gross motor milestones. The second one is fine motor. Fine motor means fine skills, like at what age the baby starts grasping, at what age baby starts using hands to feed, or at what age baby starts holding the things. So those many things. Then there comes the language. At what age baby starts babbling, at what age baby starts saying meaningless words or just a single monosyllables, at what age baby starts saying meaningful words. So for all that we have a range, and if in that particular age range baby has achieved those milestones, then we say that grossly your baby's development is normal. So that is how we as pediatricians assess your baby's growth and development. Now, what as a pediatrician I told you this much. The fourth point is when you need to worry. Mostly, like I will say that 90% of this time parents are worried, but pediatricians are not worried, because by a single look at the children, looking at their growth, looking at their behavior, looking at how they behave in your OPD, we can see that okay, your baby is perfectly normal. But we often don't get this much time to explain to you that why we said that baby is normal. Because in one look, you look at the weight, you look at the height, you look at the growth charts, you look at the development milestones, and that's it. And from a pediatrician point of view, your baby is growing normally and he's quite satisfied. But when you should be worried, or when a pediatrician is worried about your baby's growth and development, pediatrician is worried when your baby's growth does not fall in those lines, that range of that growth. So suppose weight is growing like this and this lower line is like this. So if your baby's weight is dropping between the centile charts or going up too much in a small period of time, that is the time pediatrician is worried. And then we ask for specific some blood test or some imaging, or we need to find out why your baby is growth faltering. Growth is either not happening well or growth is happening too much. Both the extremes are not good. Both the extremes need to be assessed, needs to be examined. So that is the time when a pediatrician is worried. The second thing is when a pediatrician is worried when your development milestones are not achieved in that particular range. So, suppose your baby is not able to control his head by around 5 months and his still head is lagging. That means we need to see that why your baby's head control is not achieved. If your baby is not able to sit by around 8 months, if your baby is not able to stand by around 1 year, those are the things we need to see that okay, yeah, we have to look at the muscle tone, we have to look at the limb power, we have to look at the brain, whether the brain is growing normally or not. Usually these age ranges are very wide, 3 to 5 months, that is the head control range. But by the end of 5 months, if you have not achieved, that means there is something wrong, or something wrong may be there. In that case, we definitely need to assess your baby, we need to examine, we may go for imaging, we may go for some specific blood test, and then we can look at the causes. So that is about your grossly growth and development of your baby. I hope that I have answered your most of the confusions or doubts regarding your baby's growth and development. Then one more thing we usually ask from the parents is your baby having any kind of chronic complaints or long-term complaints? Like many people, most of the times they don't have, but many people, many children may have vomiting off and on. Many children may be having very frequent infections like cold, cough or fevers. And in addition, if your child is not having a good growth, that makes us even more worried. So in that case, definitely baby needs examination, baby needs investigations, and needs to find out why these chronic or long-term complaints are there. But grossly, if your baby is perfectly normal, he's eating well, he's active, he doesn't have any long-term complaints, his growth and development is looking within the centiles, development milestones are well achieved within the range, we are happy. We as pediatricians become happy. But here I would like to tell you one more thing. And now I will tell that particular thing as a golden period educator. After doing this course of golden period education, this has come into the practice that just having adequate growth and development is not enough. You as parents, when you have children up to 2 years or 3 years, they are very small, we need to look at the development of their mind as well. Because the brain development, grossly we can assess in terms of development milestones. but how the mind structuring is happening, or how the mind frameworks are being formed in this tender age, that is very important. And there our inputs as parents, as the outside environment, matters a lot, because whatever inputs we are giving, that adds to formation of this child's personality, and that decides how this child is going to behave or act or think in future. So we need to look at our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions and behavior, because the child is grasping all these details, even though we feel the child is not capable of, but he's super capable of grasping all these informations. So here my request to all the parents is, please don't get stressed about small things like cold, cough, not eating well, not they never say that he's not active. When we ask them, is the child active? Yes, he's very active, but he's not feeding well, he's not feeding well, he is having some cold, he's having some nose block. But if you look at the child is absolutely happy, smart and active. So this child does not need any medications, but this child needs lot of mental inputs. What kind of behavior you are showing it to them, the same behavior is going to come in them when they become big. So it is our responsibility as parents, that what do we want our children to become. We want our children to become stress-free. We want our children to become brave, courageous, not to act in panic. So many things we want, right? If we want that, we want ourselves to become like that. Because the parents do not listen to what they say. The children do not listen to what the parents say. Children see and absorb. So that will be my message. And with that, I will like to conclude my talk. If there are any questions, I can definitely answer to it. But otherwise, I will conclude and say bye to you. I hope that I have answered your doubts, and we'll see you next Saturday again in the Facebook Live. Thank you so much, and good night, everyone.